As long as
Yeah.
we also like have it recorded on live, I can always just send it to them too.
That makes sense.
Because they usually ask for the recording most of the time anyway. Let me
Your work
share
is so interesting.
this link to them though. Hattie, how are you feeling about the weather so far?
Well, let's put it this way. My oldest takes care of mowing up the leaves and crunching them up a little bit more, and he hadn't gotten to that last week. So guess what? Now I have this frozen pile of leaves on my yard that are going to turn into mush come
Oh my
spring. So
gosh,
I
that's
am
exciting.
I didn't really want it to go this way, but alas, you learn to decide what you can and cannot control as a parent, and this was a I can't control it.
I feel like that's the conversation we had last time as well.
Yep, it's my winning attitude, I guess.
I heard it snowed on a little bit on Saturday. Is that true?
I did. Do you, were you out of town? Are you in Mankato? I don't even know this
I am
regularly.
in Mankato.
Okay, so were you out of town on Saturday, or you just didn't notice the snow?
I slept in.
Oh, good job. That's what you need to do on the weekend.
So by the time I woke up, it was already done snowing, and my friend was like, it did snow," and I was like, "No, it didn't." She was like, "It did.
It was
You just
not
slept
much,
through it, right?"
not much, but
Because
Scott took, go
I
ahead.
did leave the house around like 2 or something, and there was no snow. So
No, it wasn't much. I'm trying to remember if it even felt like it accumulated. I don't think it did. So,
I love that they don't register until I send them the link.
okay, so do students literally register right now?
I usually send them a message to register, but I think a lot of them don't check.
Yeah, I saw the reminder come through yesterday.
Yeah, and it does send reminders. So
Does it send reminders only if you've registered, or does it send reminders? Well, I didn't register unless you registered me. I don't think I registered.
no, I think for you it's because you're a
Oh,
co-host
sure.
that I've added, but we can get started and I think they'll trickle in.
Okay.
Or we could wait.
I can go either way because I've held this hour for this purpose, so it's not urgent. Then I could ask you questions like, if there was one thing that you could do more of in your job because it just like is something you really like about it, but maybe you don't have to do all the time, what would it be?
That's a great question. Share more international stories.
Yeah, tell me more about it.
Yeah.
Like, how so?
So, part of my job involves around our social media. And so I do
Yeah,
manage a team of like social media, like student workers that primarily do social media work. And I just love sharing international student stories on our platforms. Just something about it. I'm just very passionate about, sharing what they're involved in, how being in the US has changed them, what they would take back, like what experience will they take back to their home countries, right? So
cool.
that's really fun for me. And I wish I could do more of that.
Now, oh, and we may have students here now, but I was going to ask you the opposite then soon, but we can also get started and then go from there.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for that question. I also really want to hear your answers. I'll
I have to
probably
think
like,
about my answer, so we'll find out.
I was like, what would you do? Um, Hi guys. Hi Antwi. Hi Lynette. Welcome in. I just spoke with you, Lynette, this morning, so thank you for being here. Today's session is going to be on registration. For those of you that don't know me yet, my name is PJ Gurung. I'm the Assistant Director for Strategic Communications and Recruitment. It's a long title at KIC. And a lot of my work revolves around doing pre-arrival, communications, social media, all that fun stuff. I'm actually a prior international student, and so I've gone through the process of coming to the US and going through higher education here. So if you have any questions, you guys have my WhatsApp, but I will let Sarah introduce herself and we can start.
Good afternoon from Minnesota, all. It is 1:10-ish here in the afternoon. I'm curious what time it is where you are. As PJ mentioned, my name is Sarah. The last name is Granberg Rademacher, so it's a mouthful, hence it's abbreviated, Sarah GR. I serve as the director of university advising, and so I supervise a team of folks who are really your academic guides when you come to MSU and walk you through the different academic programs, get you connected to faculty in your majors and other things. And so really happy to be with you today. PJ, if you're okay with it, I would love to ask our folks to drop some things in the chat. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. Let me actually make sure that it's enabled so they can actually put stuff in the chat. Okay, yep, they should be all good.
Awesome. Thank you. If you all would do us a favor, because this is a webinar, so we can't do the same back and forth conversation, in the chat, would you just put your first name, where you're from, and what time it is there? I am just curious because I know a lot of folks come in from half a world or more away, and I have no idea. I'm thinking generally adding 7 hours, it's nighttime where some of you are at, and I'm curious where you are coming from. There we go. Thank you, Lynette. Kenya, and it's 10:10 p.m., so it is a whole whopping 9 hours different. My goal is to understand how different the time is. Okay, Kenya's 9 hours different. Awesome. Bilha or Antwi? Not seeing you listed in the chat, so I wonder if there's something else squirrely going on. Okay, Bilha also from Kenya. I'm curious, if you all have been part of this webinar before, and if you have, I apologize. I'll try to keep my part relatively straightforward. And Antwi, if you want to add your stuff to the chat, feel free. But if not, PJ and I will keep going through and we'll see if you have more to add or not. So PJ, you want to take it from there?
Yes. Alrighty. Can you see my screen?
It's good on my end.
Okay, I'm gonna go full screen, so. Can't see it?
I think it's there. I think it's in the middle of the big screen, at least on my end.
I've been told it does that sometimes. Is that better?
I think it's okay. It shows up in it looks like it's an Adobe document, and so it shows up with a frame around it, but I don't think that hurts anything.
Okay.
Awesome. So our goal today is to talk to you about some of the most frequently asked questions we get, which is around the whole idea of how will you sign up for classes? How will you know what to take? We have a lot of students who would like to do that before they get here. And the way we've built our processes with the KIC and with advising, that actually happens when you're on site. And so we're really going to spend some time going into a little bit more of the weeds of this to make sure that you have the information you need. So PJ, should we move forward?
Yes.
So if you are a transfer student from a non-US institution, we do have an important step for you to take before you get to campus. Specifically, again, if you are a transfer student with non-US coursework, we want you to work with the Kearney International Center to have those credits evaluated. Kearney has worked with ECE, the credit evaluation company, to get a special MSU evaluation. It has a reduced cost compared to a normal ECE, but it is only good at MSU Mankato, which is one of the pros and cons of it. Furthermore, that ECE evaluation helps us understand how your transfer work will come across and how it will count. However, we will also be working with your faculty once you're here to use that ECE as well as your transcripts and course syllabi to figure out how that can work all together. Now, that said, if you don't have transfer work, or if you have transfer work from a US institution, these are steps you do not need to worry about taking. You'll need to send us an official transcript from the U.S. institution if you're from here, if you have it from here. And if you don't have any credits earned yet, no problem. We'll walk you through that as well. Lynette, good question. WES is fine as well. Um, WES and ECE really do generally the same thing, and they're both good, viable credit evaluation resources. If you've already done that, go ahead with it. If you hadn't already done that, I would say go through the Kearney International Center's ECE process. But if you've already done a WES, that's fine as well. Our goal is really just to make sure that you're not spending time and money on credits you don't need. And the best way to do that is have those international credits evaluated. We also want you to dig in and learn a little bit more about your program. Certainly when you get here, we will spend some time and energy talking you through what to take your first semester, some different tools to help you kind of get ready to understand the major that you're studying. However, if you're really excited to get ahead of the game with that, one of the best ways you can do is go to the MSU homepage, which is just www.mnsu.edu. And in the search bar, type in academic catalog or just catalog. And then look at the catalog. There's a sample. It is organized in alphabetical order by the name of your program. And sometimes we have names for things that people don't expect. So if you don't see the program that you want to study there, reach out to PJ or others of us and we will help you find it because it's probably there. It just doesn't have the same title that you expect it to. And so know that the catalog, when you click into it, will show you a wealth of really helpful information. So I think you have a next, oh, nope, it's not that. Okay. So you click on it and it's going to show you the classes you need to take, what classes are prerequisites to that program. The classes all have a description so you understand a little bit more about what they're about. So it can be a really valuable resource when you're just trying to kind of get the lay of the land in terms of your academic program. So if you can, take a look in advance and see what your program is all about. That might help you feel just a little bit more comfortable as you come in. PJ, the shared screen went away. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there you go.
I was going to see if we can show an example. So
Sure. Perfect example. This is the Accounting Bachelor of Science degree. And as you can see, there's required general education courses at the top. Then it goes into prerequisites for the major and the major Common Core. These things are all divided, but every time you see a plus sign, you can click on that to learn more. So for example, the econ class tells you the title of class, Principles of Macroeconomics. It's a 3-credit class. Here's a description. It does not have any prerequisites. It meets a goal area. When it says GE, that stands for Gen Ed, which is really a hallmark of the U.S. education system, that broad swath of courses that make you sign that you're a college graduate. And then the other one underneath that is Finite Math and Introductory Calc. This is really calc for business purposes. And again, you see that there are some prerequisites listed there, but it gives you a whole ton of information going in. So we recommend that you really take a look at this just to kind of understand a little bit more about your academic program. We'll be talking to you about it, but also when you first get here, we want to just make sure we try to do everything we can to get you registered and ready to go. So it's nice if you can spend a little time in advance to take a look at that on your own, knowing that we'll answer questions all along the way. So during orientation, when you first get here, you do a check-in process with the Kearney International Center, or the KIC. Part of your check-in is going to include looking at what major you want to study and what are the math and English requirements for that major. Based on that major, we're going to look at your specific record to see if you're bringing in any credits, to see if you have taken any placement tests or tests that could be help for placement. For example, I see international students sometimes bring in SAT scores. We can use those to determine where you should start with math and English. If your major has a particular math requirement and you did not place into it yet, maybe because you didn't take the SAT or maybe because you don't have any previous college credits earned, we're going to recommend that you go ahead and take the placement test. The placement test is just a test that you take to see where you should fall. It is not a test I recommend worth studying for, being familiar with the idea of how they do it is great. And you can do that with our website too if you go to the MSU homepage and type in testing. But basically, know that when we ask you to come and take the placement test, we're just trying to see what level you should start with. And depending on your major and what level you should start with, that's going to help define what classes you should take your first semester. We know it's a lot to have you take placement tests or any kind of tests shortly after you get to the States, but it's really the best way we can kind of keep things moving for you and not delay your graduation by waiting a semester to take maybe a very important math class. Also, you'll be meeting with your academic advisor depending on your major. You'll be working with an advisor or an advising team. That team is really a great source of information. If you have questions and concerns at that event, for when we're registering you, please take advantage of it. If you are just curious and you want to know more about the program you're entering, these folks are really a wealth of information. So please take advantage of them. They will come to you with recommendations based on both your major, your placement levels, etc. And so they'll come with a list of things based on your specific needs. So please take advantage of the recommendations they make because they're here because they are student success experts and they want to help support you achieving your goal of earning a degree. After orientation, we want you to continue to go to these academic advisors. In fact, most of you will be assigned to an advising team right away. That advising team means you can see the one person on that team that you really connect with, or you can see whoever is best for you. If it's best for you to get in with whoever's available tomorrow morning at 9, you can do that. If it's best for you to continue working with Layla, you can do that. So we try to accommodate what your needs are. My biggest piece of advice here is make sure you're listening to these advisors. They live and breathe university requirements at least 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, so they know these things inside out. Your friends or your family members who want to help you, they probably have your best intentions, but they don't have that expertise. And that's okay. What we want you to do is make sure you're listening to advisors for this information and talking with your friends and your loved ones about what good things are there to do in Mankato, or what options do you have to explore different opportunities, like joining a registered student organization, RSO, things like that. So take advantage of your friends and your loved ones that way. But please make sure that when it comes to your academic advising pieces, that you're really listening to your academic advising team and ultimately to your faculty advisor, who you will be assigned to later on in your academic career. Excellent. I guess that is the piece that I do. And so, PJ, would you take us from here? You're muted. Sorry.
It happens at least once.
I know how that goes.
So, spring 2026 orientation is happening January 5th through January 9th. I'm actually going to make sure I share the most updated dates for you guys. Okay, so orientation is going to take place November. We're in November. Sorry, guys. I'm still waiting for the coffee to kick in. But orientation is Monday, January 5th through Friday, January 9th. You do have to remember that the first day you can enter the US for your spring 2026 start is on December 6th or after. So once you have your visa and you're starting to book for your flights, just make sure you have this date in mind. Also, if you're going to be living on campus, you need to make sure that you can even actually move in this early. Generally, early check-in for living in the dorms is the first week of January, which you have to apply for. And also get approved for before you are able to do it. Technology is not with me today, guys, and that's okay. We have peer mentors waiting for you. Our peer mentors will be able to get you acclimated to campus. They'll take you on a bus tour, just so you know how to use the bus, because if you didn't know it yet, if you are going to be a student here, you are able to use the bus for free. All you need to show them is your student ID card. It's very convenient and I highly encourage it, especially if you're waiting to get a car or you're not going to get a car. That's totally fine too. But we will have our peer mentors, as you see in the picture, in yellow shirts waiting for you. And so if you're lost or if you have any questions, feel free to flag them down. We're also going to be there during check-in. So feel free to come to me and say, hey, PJ, I'm like struggling with this. Can you help me out? And we will help you out. We're here to help you. Ask for help. Please don't hesitate. I know it's hard sometimes, but the best way for us to support you is if you ask for the help that you need. So don't be shy, even with the advisors. If you have questions and you're struggling, go to them for help. That's what they're here for. And a few of our upcoming webinars. November 12th, we'll have a what to do if your visa is denied. I hope you all get your visa if you're watching this, but if for some reason you're a student whose visa has been denied, feel free to join us on that. November 24th, we'll talk about traveling to Mankato. So how do you get from the airport to Mankato, what services to use, what to know about that, what to know about going through Customs and Border Patrol, what that looks like, all of that we'll cover. If you go on your KIC portal, you'll be able to see all of our other upcoming webinars. We will not have that many after this because, again, it's almost already December, so we'll probably have another final visa prep session and orientation overview. We will be going live on Instagram. As you see, it's at KIC MNSU. We will be going live on the following dates, but this is going to be a really informal time for us to just chat. You can ask us questions. But with webinars, it's very structured. Our Instagram lives are not structured at all. We kind of let you guys take the lead. So feel free to join us there as well. And then this is the calendar that you should have received in your email. You are able to download it. All of these are hyperlinked, so you can double click on the webinars you're interested in and register for it. It's in your email, or you can go to the KIC portal and take a look at that as well if you're like, I don't know when you sent it, because this email was sent a while ago. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to look for it, it's on the KIC portal. Okay. Any questions for us at all? I do want to echo what Sarah said is don't listen to your friends too much when it comes to registering for classes. Always, always, always go to your academic advisor and do that. Just so you're not wasting your time taking a class that you're actually not supposed to take.
Well, and just keep in mind that, like, for example, what came easily for one of your friends may not come easy for you. And that's totally natural, right? Not all of us are good at the same things. But sometimes friends think they have your best interest in mind and they're not thinking about that. So that's why you want to talk to your advisor, and you don't want to spend time and money on classes you don't need. And we can help you with that. But like PJ said, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or put them in the Q&A, and we'll tackle them as best we can.
Someone on YouTube asked what topics are in the math placement. They're on YouTube. So what I will say is we did do a placement testing webinar with Riley, who works at placement testing. So I can put that in the chat here on YouTube as well. Please watch that. It's also on our YouTube. If you go to our YouTube channel and go to lives, you'll see all of our recorded live session. This particular registration webinar is also going to be recorded and on YouTube for you to watch. So after today, if tomorrow or the day after you're like, oh, Sarah said something, but I don't remember what it was, you can go and rewatch our video. Same with placement testing and on any of our other webinars that we did or like that we will do. I believe our placement testing webinar was not even, it was 6 days ago. So you'll see it that you can rewatch, and hopefully that answers your question as well.
I'm looking just to see if we have more guidance specifically on that question, just in the placement testing part of the website. And I'm not finding it readily in my quick look, but if you go to the webinar, like PJ said, the recording, I'm sure that you'll find some good information from my colleague Riley.
And I believe you also mentioned this, but for placement testing, it's better if you don't prepare too much for it. Because what we want to know is where you are standing with your math or English skills. And that way we're able to place you in the course that is right for you. If you're like preparing a lot and you get put in calc, but that's not the level that you're on, you are going to struggle during the semester and it is going to affect your GPA. So, because I think that's a question I get quite a bit is like, oh my gosh, can I retake it? And I think Riley said that you can only take it twice.
Correct.
So be mindful of that as well. I took it myself. I got placed in Math 98, and honestly, I'm glad I got placed in Math 98 because my math skills were not good. And so I needed that baseline to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? English. Anyway, I needed to take that class. And so think about that as well.
And it doesn't hurt if you want to look over things to just familiarize yourself. That's one thing, but to study for it, it's not a good idea to get
Mhm.
too much information because like PJ gave the example of calc. We have had students who placed high and then they kind of regret it. And we want to make sure you have a strong foundation if your major is going to require a lot of math. And if your major doesn't care what you take for math, and some of our majors don't, you won't even be encouraged to necessarily take the placement test. We'll just work with you to get you into a math class that is appropriate for your major.
Awesome. I think there's another question on Zoom, but that's more for me.
Okay.
Didn't receive the links for the Zoom meetings. I would love to join. That's a great question. If you didn't see it in your email, you can go to our KIC portal, and that's KIC portal is where you would go to request your I-20. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. If you go to your KIC portal, you will see a section that says pre-arrival webinars with all of the registration links on there. So go to the KIC portal, look for the ones that you want to attend. We don't have that many left in this series for spring 2026, but I would encourage you to go, especially for the travel to Mankato one. I think that's going to be really useful because you guys are coming in the winter time and we don't want you to be stranded when it's snowy and cold outside because it gets really cold. But it's on the KIC portal. Just make sure you go in there. If you're not able to find it, you can message me on WhatsApp and I'll tell you how to get there. Okay. I don't think we have any other questions. I'm sure if they have any questions, they'll reach out to me or you. If I get any questions that I'm not so sure about, I'll forward them to you.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this and taking the lead on the registration webinars. I really appreciate it. Do you have any last words for our students at all watching?
My final words would be just say that we really are looking forward to you all arriving in January. Um, we know January is a rough time to start for a lot of students outside of the US because it is so cold here. So know that we will be sending warm vibes out to try and warm you up, but it's also best to come prepared with coats and hats and mittens, and you will certainly acquire those when you get to the States if you haven't already. But it's also a really cool time to start. You'll be coming in with a smaller cohort, so you'll get more individualized attention. And honestly, we're excited to have you, regardless of whether it's hot outside or cold outside. So this time we'll be happy because it's cold. So.
Yes, we're very, very excited to meet you guys and show you our wonderful campus and all of our amazing staff members, faculty. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, night, evening, wherever you are. Have a great rest of your day, Sarah.
Thank you,
And see
PJ.
you
You
guys.
too. We'll see you
Bye.
soon.